Sheba Wilson is the CEO of Sheba Wilson Trading Limited, a full-service corporate training, executive coaching, and leadership development company. She is a certified trainer, speaker, and coach, and an executive director of the John Maxwell team, a DISC trainer, and consultant and certified in creating leadership development programs from the Association of Talent Development. Mrs. Wilson has extensive leadership experience in people development and human resources and is an alumnus of the prestigious Cornell University. She is an executive committee member of the Grace Bay Resorts, where she has worked for the past 12 years and currently serves as group director of human resources with the luxury hotel brand. She is passionate about people development and is intentional in her efforts to create leaders. A widow and mother of 4 children, 3 daughters, Ariana, Gabrielle, and Alyssa, and 1 son, Caden. While it has been challenging, God has been faithful. Experiencing loss has been a time of transformation and growth spiritually, personally, and professionally. Sheba is a firm believer that nothing we experience is for us. It is meant to be shared with others in order to inspire, empower, and encourage them. As such, she uses every opportunity to impart wisdom through her life experiences and speaks extensively locally and internationally on overcoming adversity, self-care, and finding balance. Being a firm believer in service above self, Sheba is a Rotarian and serves as Director of Club Administration for the Rotary Club of the Providenciales. She also volunteers with the Edward Gartland Youth Center and serves as a Girls Club leader. Additionally, she is Deputy Chairperson of the Higher Education Advisory Board, the board which provides guidance to the Minister of Education and approval for the operation of all educational institutions within the country. As founder and host of She Will Lead, a podcast turned sponsored radio show, she speaks to the heart and soul of women in leadership, the unique challenges they face, and how they can empower to overcome them. This platform is a medium by which women are inspired, encouraged, and empowered to live above their circumstances. A thorough leader, she has co-authored Voices of Leadership along with 39 other leaders throughout the globe and has recently completed her first solo book, Get Up and Lead, which officially launches on September 19th, 2022. Sheba lives by the words, "In a world filled with hate and darkness, I choose to be and share love and light." Her favorite quote is by Peter Marshall, "When I long for a life without difficulty, remind me that oaks grow strong in contrary winds and diamonds are made under pressure." Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the Pathways to Success stage, Ms. Sheba Wilson.
Welcome to Pathway to Success. We have Ms. Sheba Wilson, well-accomplished entrepreneur, well-accomplished in every era of life. And so it's a tremendous honor to have you on Pathway to Success with us this evening. You're a very successful, influential life changer. Tell us, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be here on Pathways to Success. When I think about where I am today and where I started from, I can only attribute it to the grace and goodness of God and a lot of grit. Life is challenging, but it's what you do during those challenging times that determines whether or not you attain any level of success. And for me, grit really means growth, resilience, intentionality, and tenacity. And that's how I've chosen to live my life. I listened as my bio was being shared and hearing about the platform She Will Lead. That came about as a result of me wanting to offer humanity what I didn't have when I needed it. And so I attribute my success to God first and foremost, and secondly, to just having the determination and the persistence to push forward despite adversity.
Like that. But who are your role models? What motivated you to decide to choose a career choice in human development?
Well, actually, my mom works in human resources. So I didn't start out in human resources. I studied mass communication. I wanted to be a broadcaster. And so that was my career choice initially. And after studying mass communication and returning home, back then there weren't many opportunities in media. So I started out as a journalist writing for the Free Press newspaper, and then later on, I transitioned into hospitality because it's the mainstay in Turks and Caicos. And so I made that transition into the hospitality sector, and then left hospitality to work in government for a bit, with the Minister of Labor and Immigration at the time, before going back into hospitality full time again. So when I re entered hospitality, I started as the GM's executive assistant, and then I cross trained really in a lot of different areas: front office, sales and weddings, housekeeping. I just tried everything, trying to figure out, what's my fit in this industry. And then I volunteered to take on a project in human resources. And out of that volunteer opportunity, I decided that this is something that I actually like, and I enrolled in a master's certification with Cornell University. And then upon completing my studies, I transferred into human resources full time. So I guess the love for HR was twofold. One, I always had a love for people, and one of my gifts is the gift of help. That's my spiritual gift. And so that, along with the fact that I saw my mom working in human resources over the years, I think those two things kind of merged together and caused me to choose the path of human resources, which I have not regretted. I believe that it is my life's calling to develop people, and to, in particular, develop leaders.
You have a great belief. It's evident from as our interview just began. You keep speaking about God. Are you Christian? You seem to have a
Yes,
great
I
faith in
am.
God.
I am a woman of faith. I have been Christian my entire life. I was raised in a Christian family. My grandmother has been in ministry all of my life. I've known her to be serving the Lord. My mother is an associate pastor. And
Wow.
so all I've known my entire life was serving God. So yes, I am Christian.
So your mother is an associate pastor. Wow,
Yes.
that must have. What is like being with a mother who's so well, she's in human resources. She's also associate pastor. What was it like growing up in that home? And you didn't mention anything about your father. What I mean,
So my father passed away in 2011, but I grew up in a single parent home. So my father had relocated to the United States while my mom was pregnant with me. And so I didn't grow up with my dad. As a matter of fact, my relationship with my dad really took place, or I should say, took shape when I was already a teenager. So my upbringing is attributed mostly to my mother and my grandmother, because they raised me. So a product of a single parent home. And what I do recall mostly of my childhood, we came from very humble beginnings. So there was a lot of lack. But what I do recall is my mom always prioritized what was needed for school. So I was the child who always had my textbooks, while my friends might have had the best of clothes and the best of all of the accessories to come to school. I was the child who was not going to school without my textbooks. She made sure that she prioritized our education. And I believe that whether she knew it or not at the time, that would be our ticket out of poverty. So things are a lot different today than they were when I was growing up. Would I change my upbringing? No, I wouldn't, because I don't think I would be the person that I am today if I had a different start in life. I think the fact that life was generally tough, it made me tough. It made me, tenacious, and have this resiliency about me. So I don't despise my humble beginnings, and I really value how my mom raised me. She said once when she was preaching, and this took me by complete surprise, that she had no clue what she was doing when she was raising us. But we all turned out well. And so I guess I'll attribute that to God's guidance as well.
Any siblings, other siblings?
Yes. Yeah. So I have lots of siblings on my mom's side. I have a sister Lana and two brothers. They both now live in the United Kingdom, Xavier and Zavon. So my mom had four of us. I'm the oldest. And then on my dad's side, I do have three other sisters and a brother. So lots of siblings.
And you do have four children, and my condolences in the loss of your husband. You do
Yes,
have four
thank
children.
you. Yes, I
Yeah.
have four children, three daughters, and a son. My son is the baby. He was the boy that I thought I wasn't going to have, and when I had given up, then God blessed me with my son after three girls.
That's wonderful. Tell us, what is your typical day in the tourist industry, or in the tourist industry there in the Turks and Caicos Island?
Well, I'd say first of all, we have been really blessed because post COVID, even though we're not completely out of the woods, we have seen really a consistent flow of tourist arrivals into Turks and Caicos. So when we reopened our country in 2020 in July, we had a slow pace of getting tourists back into the country. But by November, December of 2020, we began to see the uptake, and it hasn't slowed down. So all through 2021 and all into this year, 2022, it's been quite busy. Even for the month of August, which is traditionally the summer month, and it's kind of slow because of hurricanes, we've seen that it has been quite busy on our island. So we're blessed. We're thankful for that. But my typical day, I like to say, working in HR, you can plan out your day in one way, but you have no clue how it's going to turn out, right? Because you're dealing with people and things happen. And because it's human resources, because it's dealing with people, they take priority. And so sometimes things happen that you have to quickly pivot, you have to shift gears and deal with the matter at hand versus what you might have started out planning to do. So my days are kind of unpredictable for the most part. But I'll say this, it is very rewarding. It's very rewarding, especially when I am able to be training. The part of HR that I love the most is the learning and development side of things. While I love HR holistically, I really love focusing my energy on developing talent and helping people to grow in their careers. And so I spend a lot of my time strategizing how we can strengthen our teams, how we can prioritize their development and put them on a path for growth so that we're able to promote from within the organization. And we've been able to do that successive years. We've been able to promote from within the organization. And when I'm able to look back and see how many persons started out maybe as line team members and then went on to be supervisors and then managers, and to know that you had a part to play in that, that's the most fulfilling thing for me as an HR director, to be able to see someone just move up the ladder and make it all the way, in some instances, to the executive level, and to look back and say, you had a small part to play in that person being able to attain that level of success.
Oh, that's powerful. In life, we all face challenges, right? You must. How many persons do you oversee or manage in HR within your department?
So my HR team consists of 10 persons across 4 properties. So and growing. But that's our staff complement in the HR department at this time. But in terms of our staff complement across our properties, we have about 600 employees.
Another question I didn't ask you: where were you educated? Were you educated on the island of Turks?
Yeah,
Where were you?
so my primary and high school education took place in Turks and Caicos, and then tertiary education in Barbados.
Wow. Barbados.
Yes.
I think they have one of the highest level of education in
Yes.
the
In the
Caribbean. I think
Caribbean. Yeah.
Barbados, beautiful Barbados. In life, we all face challenges, Sheba. Throughout your journey, was there a time in life when you ever felt like just throwing in the towel, give it up?
I've faced many challenges, but I've never gotten to the point where I wanted to give up. And I thought about this a bit today because I was thinking about, what is it about me that causes me to always push forward? And I think it goes back to my childhood and my upbringing, and realizing back then that, I'm coming from humble beginnings, and I'm knowing that I want more for my life than this. I think I knew that very early in life, that I wanted more. I wanted to surpass anything that my mother would have accomplished. So I always had that kind of drive in me that I wanted to do more. And so what I find with me is that whenever there's a challenge, instead of giving up, my mind is turning in 100 directions about, okay, what's the solution? So I'm very solution oriented. So if I'm facing a challenge, I'm not singing woe is me. My response is, how do I fix this? So immediately my mind goes into solution mode, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do to get out of this situation or to make this better? And that's just the way that I'm wired, I guess. That's the way that God created me. But I've never come to a point, even in my most challenging times, where I felt like I want to give up on life.
No, you are a winner indeed. We're going to take a short break with Miss Sheba Wilson, and we'll be right back with you on Pathway to Success.
Kamar Gallimore Ministry presents Gospel to the World, featuring gospel greats like Papa Son, Prodigal Son, Minister Marion Hall, formerly Lady Song, Mr. Gallimore, Shepherd, Carrie Diamond, AG Icon, with MC Princess Nikki D. Gospel to the World, Sunday, August 14th. Doors open at 6 p.m. Showtime is at 7 p.m. at the Royal Palm Beach Cultural Center in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. Tickets are $40 pre-sold and $50 at the door. Purchase tickets online now. GospelToTheWorld.eventbrite.com. For more information, call 561-563-1969. Sponsored by Gallimore Motor Group. Gospel to the World, Sunday, August 14th, an event not to miss.
Caribbean Gospel TV, the official station for Gospel to the World.
Are you looking to advertise your business? Look no further. Pathways to Success is offering 3 30-second slots each Sunday of the month for $100. Please contact 561-331-1524 for all inquiries.
Welcome back to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and I'm interviewing the most luxurious, beautiful, um, um, Sheba Wilson, an entrepreneur, one who works in the area of human resources. Um, Sheba, you wear many hats and have several titles. Now, tell us, how do you balance family time? You have 4 children. How do you balance that with all that you do?
I get asked that a lot. I get asked that a lot. And to be honest, I don't quite like the word balance. And I'll tell you why. I think when you hear balance, automatically you begin to believe that every part of your life has to have equal attention. And that is just not really doable. Like you can't really attain balance. So what I like to say is that you have competing priorities
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
day-to-day basis. You have competing priorities. So your work is a priority, but your family is also a priority, and sometimes they're competing against each other, and you have to determine which one is more important in that given moment. What has to take place now versus what I can either delegate to someone else, or I need to give attention to, or I can put it off for a later time. And so that is how I manage all of the different responsibilities that I have. What is pressing? What do I have to give attention to now? What can I delegate to someone else to assist me with? And what can I actually put off until tomorrow? And that is how I attain a level of equilibrium in life, because really and truly, work-life balance is never, you're never going to reach to a place of balance. um, all of the different facets of our lives kind of intertwine, they blend together. So sometimes you would hear people refer to work-life blend, which makes a bit more sense because you're blending all of the different facets of your life. So one of the examples that I can share of how I do that is, um, since the passing of my husband, I have had a birthday trip to celebrate my birth. I never used to celebrate birthdays, but after his passing, it became so important to me to celebrate the fact that I was alive and given another year of life. And so I started to celebrate that by travel. And so this year, my birthday trip and Rotary conference fell around the same time. And so I had to blend both of those things that were equally important to me. So being a Rotarian is important to me, and attending the conference was important, but having a birthday trip was also important. So I blended both of those together. So that is just to give you an example of how we can kind of achieve balance in life. So maybe you have to work, but maybe your work is flexible so that you're able to incorporate some family activity into it. So maybe you're called in to do something, but maybe your family can have lunch or do something while you're actually on call or working. So find ways to kind of incorporate all of it so that you're taking care of all of the responsibilities, all of the priorities that are on your plate.
You are a business owner also. Tell us about your business.
So my business is in people development. My company focuses on developing leaders. Really, I do work with line staff, but my passion is in developing leaders. And so I provide corporate training, retreats, coaching services for middle management and executive level positions. I also do a lot of pro bono work in the local community, working with youth in particular, assisting with youth development and teaching youth leadership, because I think it's important for us to start early by teaching our children what leadership truly is, making sure that they understand that the foundation of leadership is character. So working with them to build strong character so that they become great leaders later on. In addition to that, I'm currently working on a major project through my company, which is an application tracking software, which would be new to Turks and Caicos. and really it's focused on HR solutions. So because I'm so busy, I'm thinking of all the ways that I can simplify any process that's related to human resources and make that available to businesses, whether that's a small or medium enterprise or a large scale entity. This application tracking system is going to streamline the recruitment process, to make it easy to manage, and to also make it easy to shortlist applicants and have all of that information in one place, both for the applicant as well as for the employer. And so that is a project that I am currently beta testing, working out all of the kinks. And once that's done in a few weeks, it will roll out in Turks and Caicos. And it's called She Lead Hiring System. So that's what's next for my company. And also, I'll take this opportunity to say that I have written my first solo book, Get Up and Lead, and that is going to launch nationally on the 19th of September, which is the 7th year anniversary of my husband's death. And you know, you would know that 7 is the number of completion. And so I'm grateful that I was able to write about my experiences and to share some things that helped me along my journey so that it can be a source of help, inspiration, encouragement, and empowerment for other persons that have to navigate loss or any kind of adversity, and to really show them that it is possible to overcome it and to attain success.
Why the topic She Leads? Does she leads in everything?
She leads in everything. She's a leader. So I'll tell you, this was a divinely inspired name. I was actually headed to a meeting in 2020, and as I was walking to the admin building, I heard the voice of God, the Holy Spirit, saying to me, "She will lead." And I was like, "She will lead." And it said it again, "She will lead, live every day above defeat." And so I rushed back to my desk and I wrote that down. And that became the name of my podcast, which was later sponsored by Flow, a telecommunications company here in Turks and Caicos, as a radio show. So She Will Lead. Lead stands for live every day above defeat. That was divinely inspired by the Holy Spirit. And so every project that He has given me, that has been the theme that continues. And I believe that it's important to follow God's leading. And that's what He gave me. And so I'm sticking with it until He tells me that I need to retire it.
Or if you get married again, then it will say He will lead. But that's what really truly. But I like the concept. I like it. That's so inspirational. That's unique. That's out of the box, and the meaning of it. Wow, that's tremendous. How would you say your podcast has really made a difference in the lives of many persons who have listened to it?
You know, the thing is, when I started the podcast, it was because me coming up in my career, I didn't have female mentors. All of my mentors have been male. And somehow as a woman, I wanted female mentorship. I wanted to see a woman who I could look to and get guidance from, who was further ahead than I am and who could help me along my journey. But that was lacking. And so when I reached to the level that I am at now, I started to think about how can I give to others what I didn't have. And so I got the idea of launching the podcast as a means of presenting some of the challenges that women face and bringing on persons who had stories to share that could encourage, empower, and inspire others. So that's how She Will Lead was birthed. Right. And so I've continued on that path. You know, all of the work that I do, even the pro bono work that I do within the local community, it's geared towards that same thing, equipping persons to be able to live life successfully. You know, life is tough. It's challenging. And sometimes people give up because they have no source of encouragement. They don't have a voice that's telling them, here's how you do it. right? A lot of times we say, oh, somebody has it worse than you, or we tell people it's going to be all right, I'm going to pray for you, but we give them no tools. We don't do anything to equip them to be able to navigate. People want to know how they can navigate life. And so that's what my book does. It talks about some of the things that work for me, some of the strategies that you can implement to help you along your journey, to help you to live above your circumstances, to live above defeat.
That's good. What are some of the tips that you can give to our viewers that are watching right now to improve their skills and become great leaders, whether on the job or in their communities?
So the first thing I would say is you have to be self-aware, right? You can't improve something if you don't know where you're lacking. So the first thing you need to be is self-aware. And how do you become self-aware? You become self-aware by practicing introspection. You need to spend time alone. Some of us are afraid to be by ourselves. We don't want to spend any time with ourselves. We don't want to really sit and pause and ask ourselves the important questions so that we can get the answers that we need. So you need to be introspective. You need to spend time in reflection. You also need to talk to other persons that work closely with you. Ask them, what am I good at? What do I do well? Where can I improve? Have those conversations. You can also do assessments, right? You can do a 360-degree assessment and have persons assess your skills and ability. You can also do personality assessments to determine what your natural giftedness and strengths are. Because the more aware you are, the better your chances of being able to improve in the areas that you're weak in, but also to strengthen your ability in the areas that you're already naturally gifted at. So that would be the first thing, become self-aware. The second thing is get clear about what it is that you envision for your life. Many times when people come to me for coaching, one of the things that I realize is they know that they're not happy or they want something more, but they can't tell you what it is. They can tell you what they don't want, but they can't tell you what they do want. And so getting clear about what your picture of success is very important, because if you're not clear on what it is that you envision for your life, you're going to find yourself following someone else's vision. You're going to find yourself following someone else's picture of success. And that is really not the way that God intended us to live, because he gave each of us skills, abilities, giftedness, something that we're supposed to offer to humanity. And until we find out what that is, we're not able to carry out our purpose and walk in our calling. And so that's the second thing that I would encourage persons to do. Get clear about what it is that you desire. What is the picture of success for you? And finally, what I would say is, once you begin to experience that level of personal success, don't stop there. Because what you have to realize is that legacy is important. So if you experience personal success, if you do something, maybe you got a promotion and you stop there, what is the legacy that you're leaving? So think about success in terms of legacy. What is the legacy that I want to create? What is the message that I'm carving, the imprint that I'm making on the hearts of men and women? What are they going to say about me when I'm gone? Because all of us are going to leave this earth one day. And the only thing that's going to be left of us is how we have impacted other persons. So think about your success in terms of creating legacy and leading a life of significance, not just success. Success can be personal, but it can also be significant because it has an impact on more than just you, on more than just your family. So begin to think about success in the context of significance and legacy creation.
Wow. I mean, it looked like I have to fly you into America, Florida, right here to do a life coach seminar. I would really like to have you here.
I would really like to do that. Yes, I would take you up on that.
I believe that you're the best I've heard so far, and in the way you angle the questions, I'm tremendously impressed with everything that you have said. Your level of intellect and the way you explain things. In closing, do you have any new projects that you're currently working on?
Yeah, so I mentioned the application tracking system and the launch of my new book. Those are the only two I can talk about right now because they're close to being launched. I don't talk about things too early. I like to have them ready before I begin to share. But I'll say this: when you think about what's next, there's always a next with me, because before the project is complete, I'm already on the next, right? So
Right.
next is now. So I'm constantly working towards the next thing. And at this stage in my life, it's not about personal success. It's about legacy. It's about impacting the lives of humanity positively, because there's a lot of impact and a lot of it is negative. But anything that I do, I want to make sure that it's making a positive impact on persons, that it changes lives for better. And so anything that comes from my brand definitely is going to be associated with transformation for good.
Okay, wow. Well, you've heard it from the best. She has taken us down an inspirational story for her life, and what a successful one, and the one where she have overcome adversities to be now a very successful and prominent woman in today's society. I want to thank you again, Sheba, for coming on Pathway to Success. And in closing, do you have anything you want to tell the people for this week in closing to part with?
I just want to, I'll just leave an encouragement with you. No matter how challenging or difficult life gets, no matter what circumstances you're facing, don't give up. Don't give up. Sometimes you have to even create the environment that you need, because you're surrounded by persons that may not be pouring into your life in a positive way. You may be in a toxic situation. Even if you find yourself there, I encourage you to get in the Word of God, to find a scripture to draw strength from. Find someone that understands your struggle, who can give you proper guidance, but do not give up. Do not give up. Most times when people give up, they're this close to their breakthrough. And if they had just pushed a little further, they would have experienced that. So I just want to leave that encouragement with you. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward. And remember God's grace and your grit, growth, resilience, intentionality, and tenacity.
I like that. Well, thank you for being on Pathway to Success. Um, and I want everyone who have just viewed this powerful broadcast to like and share. Have a great week.